Paul, the Sabres lost last night, and they said a thing that they've said before. And I said to Joe, imagine a New York Jets player saying something like this, saying, we think we're too good, and you play for the Sabres. Like, it's kind of amazing that that's one of their go-tos. Lindy Ruff said they wanted it to be easy. Matthias Samuelsson said too many passengers. It is a very familiar refrain from a team that loses so often.
Yeah, I think and they were all very honest about it, and that's why I wrote basically all their quotes. They said they can say it better than I'm saying it, because I'm going to say exactly what they're saying. But the problem is, how many times have we heard these quotes over the years? You know, some guys wanted it easy. We got outworked. Some guys are passengers. We get too high on ourselves. We went into battles casual and soft. It was a lack of respect for the game of hockey. That one was new. I have not heard that one before. That was from Tage Thompson. But the rest of them I've heard before. I said, Brian and I had this conversation in pregame. I said, you know, they can't. Too many times I've heard this team talk about how they took a team too lightly. You know, How in the world can a team that hasn't made the playoffs in 14 years, who currently are in last place in the Eastern Conference, take any team too lightly? How? I don't understand how that can happen. Who do you think you are? I mean, that you can take the St. Louis Blues or the Calgary Flames, who are two of the worst three teams in the league, who are playing on back-to-back nights, and they're backup goaltenders. How can you take them too easy? I mean, that's what I don't understand. And Lindy Ruff and Don Granato and just insert name can only do so much. And that's where what I liked what Samuelsson said. He goes, we're the ones that put the skates on. They don't. They can give us the game plan. They can tell us how to play, but we got to go do it. And we have to go do it. And they don't. Which tells me, I mean, they say there's accountability in that locker room. Where? I mean, you can tell me all you want there's accountability in that locker room. Then how does last night happen? The way it happens. You can lose game. You can get goalied. The Blues game, they got more goalied than what happened last night. But they got goalied by a guy who had some of the worst goaltending numbers in the National Hockey League at the time. But that doesn't explain last night, and I have no explanation for you. I can't understand how, and I hear this every year, a couple of times a year from these guys. And it's true. It's not like they're making it up. It's true. How do you guys get full of yourselves after 2 games? And it wasn't even 2 full games.
Right. And you're still in last place even through those 2 games.
Yeah, you came back in the third period and came storming back and won a hockey game. And then you did dominate the Edmonton Oilers and turned Connor McDavid. It was the worst game I've ever seen Connor McDavid play. Totally shut him down. How do you go out and do that and then come back and not ready to play in the next game because it's the worst team in the league?
Well, when Samuelsson says that, Paul, like there were too many passengers last night, it could be different answers for different games. Who was that true of last night, you think?
Pretty much the whole team. I mean, I saw Mallenstein really digging hard. I saw Krebs really digging hard to try to win battles and barrel in that. I don't know. I'd be hard-pressed to think of too many others. I thought Rasmus Dahlin started off pretty well, but most of the guys didn't. I thought he did. It wasn't Colton Ellis's night. It's the first night I've seen him with the kicking rebounds all over the place. His rebound control is so good. And that was one of the things that really struck me watching him play is the rebounds are right around his pads, and he can cover it. He can move the puck. I mean, the first goal was a rebound that he had bounce out on him. It wasn't a typical Colton Ellis game either. So that's what I mean. It was from top to bottom. that they just didn't show up as a team. It's as simple as that, and I'm here to tell you they're in the bottom of the Eastern Conference on merit. That it's not a fluke. I mean, they're not there because they've had so many injuries and so many bad breaks. They've had this, they've had that. They're there because they deserve to be there, because they are the worst team in the Eastern Conference right now. They don't need, and they don't need to be. The Edmonton game and the comeback in the Detroit game shows you that. All right, I understand injuries are part of it, but those two games show you that they can win hockey games, even with all the injuries, if they just go out and play the way they're supposed to play. You know, are they Stanley Cup contenders? No, but they can win hockey games. They don't have to be the worst team in the Eastern Conference, but part of the reason they are the worst team in the Eastern Conference is because they pull off stuff like this, where you don't even recognize them as hockey players. And I want to know where the accountability is in that locker room.
Well, Paul, that's a great question. We said earlier that when Kevin Adams made the change coach from Don Granato to Lindy Ruff, one of the things he said was, "I know the answer," and it was all about accountability. And here we are, like this buzz phrase about accountability yet again is still kind of front and center. So who knows? I kind of joked to Joe the other day. I'm waiting for the next big important thing to happen for them, and I don't know what that is. A trade, a 10-game win streak, probably not.
I mean, on a real team, it is somebody getting fired, right? Somebody
changed at the top. I mean, maybe Jarmo Kekalainen wants to talk publicly about something, right? Somebody speak on something. I don't know when that'll happen, but it's an organization that kind of leaves you, wanting a lot more in that department.
Yeah, no, it's a flawed team. It's a flawed hockey department. It's a flawed team. It's flawed from the top down. I mean, why is Terry Pegula not doing anything about this? The only thing I can say is he must be satisfied with what he's seeing. Otherwise, he would have done something about it. So I can't come up with any other answer other than he's satisfied. He wanted to be heard. That's why Jason Botterill was no longer the GM. He found Kevin Adams because he felt he would be heard, and that must be all he cares about. Because how long does he got to watch this? Mm-hmm. I mean, this team is worse than it was when Adams took over. So how long does he have to watch this before he does anything at all about it? And the only thing I can surmise is he's okay with it. He doesn't see anything wrong.
Yeah, the best I could have to work for this, but I feel like the best I could do, Paul, is if I go back to the end of last year, did it sound like maybe even from Adams directly that maybe he didn't know if he was going to be back, and then maybe there was a consideration to moving on then? And if there was, that would get me to, well, then that's how I get a change this year. Is if they've already thought about it before, then maybe they would actually do it with the season going off the rails.
Well, what they probably sell Terry Pegula in the off-season meetings? Well, we really, we can build on the end of the season where we did really well. We can build on that. That's what I would assume he got sold.
Right.
What's he getting sold right now? Injuries. I'm assuming.
Right.
I'm assuming that. Now that's an assumption. I don't know. I'm not there. I'm not there when Kevin Adams talks to Terry Pegula. So I'm assuming, what is he getting sold now?
Yeah, well, no, that's right.
We have 5 forwards out. We have this, Darlene missed time. Kesselring missed time. I would imagine that's what he's getting fed now.
Paul Hamilton on the joining us here talking Sabres. His appearance brought to you by Raylex. On to Raylex, we got this.
Paul, where do we go from here with goalie? Ellis has 4 of the last 5 starts. Last night, as you mentioned, did not go well for him. For Elliot Friedman had an interesting blurb today in 32 Thoughts, which was that maybe Luukkonen is unhappy that he's not playing because he thinks it's costing him a shot at the Olympics. Not that he's looked great, I don't think either, in his 4 games. So, I don't know.
Play better.
Yeah. Right, play better.
You want to play better.
Do you think he'll get a shot at that now, or more of a shot at that because Ellis underperformed last night?
It sounded. I think Lindy slipped yesterday. It sounded like Lyon was going to play Friday anyway, because
Okay.
he was asked why Lyon wasn't backing up, and he goes, "Well." He goes, we're trying to get him a rest, and he played a lot of games and everything. He goes, and if we're planning on playing him Friday or something like that, that gives him a rest. And I don't think he meant to give us the goalie, but I think he accidentally did. So it sounded like, all right, Ellis is going to need a break. So he's going to play this game, and Lyon's going to play Friday, and I'm just taking from what I heard.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe Ellis will be back in on Sunday. I mean, it wasn't a great game for Ellis, but let's not go too far crazy here. I mean, he's not going to play every single game great. I mean, he is going to have an off night for someplace. I mean, it was the only game I've seen him play so far in his young NHL career that was not good. I still think he's a goaltender that's very, very good on rebounds normally. Matter of fact, he actually settled that down a little bit as the game went on until the third period rolled around. And again, he was just part of the problem. I mean, he was. So I actually take nothing away from his performance from last night, other than see you Sunday.
Yep. All right, Paul. Well, tomorrow it's the Blackhawks, right? Okay.
And they're playing really well, folks. That's not the same Chicago Blackhawk team you're thinking of.
Yeah, and also I think they're like top 5 in the league with their goalies so far this year. And Bedard, Paul, has like him and both the last 2 first overall picks, right? Bedard and Celebrini have kind of taken the league over a little bit the last month.
But you know what? If they decide they want to play like they did against the Oilers, Bedard's going to have his problems.
All right.
But that's a pretty big if, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you, Paul.
Take care.
Paul Hamilton, Sabres. Recap from last night. They played the Flames. They lost. They played the Blackhawks on Friday.